Hi, Dr. Shabazz, it's Elizabeth. Sorry it took me so long to get to this, but I have been trying, like I mentioned, to figure out how to compress everything on this journey that we've been through into such a seemingly short amount of time. But I hope this helps, and I hope that we can inspire other people to go through the same healing journey, to reset one's life and give them truly a full life once again. So, here we go. Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I am one of Dr. Shabazz's patients. My story is a little bit unique because we started out actually working to heal my husband from lupus. Lupus is one of those kind of non-discriminatory autoimmune diseases in which there's just extreme inflammation throughout the whole body. And from our experience, no doctors or rheumatologists can really figure out what it is. So they covered the symptoms, they tell you you're going to end up down the road with this and that, and that it was just kind of what it was. Together, my husband and I tried for a very long time to find different opportunities for him to help him heal. We had different pieces of what we now know was the full picture of Dr. Shabazz's protocol. And until we were able to gather all the pieces in the proper order at the proper times with the proper discipline, nothing really worked. When my husband decided to start this protocol and to start truly dedicating a new way to heal himself, he had been feeling quite ill and sick for a while. He was diagnosed with it over 20 years ago, and so had suffered through that for that long. When we were doing the research, we knew we needed something different. We needed someone that was going to make it hard, make us dig deep and go through the grit to heal. Because when things are easy, not everybody does them, and a lot of times they don't work. So we started, and what I watched my husband go through after being sick for 20 years was incredible. And I wasn't the one going through it at that time, but I was standing next to him. And the protocol that Dr. Shabazz provided, that he tailored specifically to my husband, helped my husband detox from over 20 years of parasites, imbalances, inflammation that just couldn't go away. And what that did, though it was hard and challenging, I wouldn't change it, and neither would he. It has given us his life back, which has then not trickled, but waterfalled over into our lives. My husband has been able to give so much more, not only to himself, but to also myself and our daughter. And the protocol is real. The protocol is hard. The things that you must do to reset your body from a truly spiritual cellular level is real. It's deep, it's authentic. And I watched my husband go through it. I stood next to him and supported him the best that I could. And each of us has a different story on that side, but it was hard. It was challenging to watch the detox symptoms and not be able to alleviate any of it. But because my husband stuck through it, because he continued to push and was determined to heal, not only just based on the protocol, the diet, the processes, the oils, the herbs, the Ayurvedic herbs, all of those pieces, but he was also determined, and that mindset is what got him through. And it took a good 6 months for the most of the protocol to complete. Our time ran a little bit over due to some life circumstances. But now it's been over a year, I think coming up on a year and a half, and he wakes up and he doesn't hurt. He's not sick. He can enjoy food again. He can enjoy his life without being, succumbing to the aches, the pains, the severe pinches that his whole body was consumed with for so long. And he's still working. We're still doing the maintenance program, but it's become part of our lifestyle. It's become part of who we are because we understand the power that has been given back to him and the power of food, of herbs, of simple supports. no medicines in the sense of a pharmaceutical or a chemical. It's all natural. There's a balance to be had. And in this world in which they want to simply cover up symptoms, Dr. Shabazz actually goes to the root cause. He goes down deep to the cellular level, to where it all starts, the mitochondrial level, frankly. And he's able to bring everything together in a whole. He has created unique healing protocols. As simple as that sounds, there's so much more to it, and we understand that, and we understand all the hours and the time and the research and the constant continuing of his knowledge and education to be able to share with us and those that do choose to move forward with his protocol. But regardless of what it is and how hard it was, I would do it in a heartbeat again, and so would my husband. The support that Dr. Shabazz has provided, the knowledge, the care, and truly the kindness has been incredible. And what I would encourage anybody that's suffering, anybody that is struggling at a point where they think it's hopeless, you're already there. You're already at the bottom. Why not try something that's so different, that's so simple compared to a lot of things to truly reset the body? Try it. You're already suffering through it. So why don't you walk a path that allows you to step out into the light on the other side? If you do this protocol, if you adhere to his recommendations and his steps, your body will heal. Your body will find itself again before you ever got sick. And maybe it's been so long that you don't remember, but it comes back. The only person in my life and my husband's life that remembers him before he was sick was his mother. And after he healed, I got to know the man that she raised. I got to feel his spirit and his light and his vibrancy come back to a degree I didn't know. I already loved him and he was my best friend to start. But now I got so much more, and together we have so much more. So that's the story on my husband's journey, and the spouse sitting on the other side wishing they could take it all away, but supporting all the way through. And then out of inspiration, or whatever word you want to add to it, I decided to take my own path with Dr. Shabazz. I personally had issues with having been on the birth control pill for probably over 15 plus years, having severe hormonal acne most of my life, going on antibiotics, tetracycline, things like that when I was younger to try and clear it. And none of it ever worked. And I struggled with that all the way up until my late 30s. And I decided that after seeing everything that, granted what my husband did and how hard it was, how incredibly improved his life was on the other side and what we were living then. And so I decided to take the same steps to heal my body and bring it back to the way it was supposed to be, the way it was intended to be. And my journey was not as severe, thankfully, as my husband's. I was not as sick as him. It's funny to think that I was sick because I never struggled. I could make it through my days without having major issues. But I knew there were things that were imbalanced, that were not correct with my cycle, that, you know, the different aches in my breast region and things like that were not correct, were not what should be happening. And so women's health, I also think, has a little bit of a lack, and I don't think we're treated as properly or as thoroughly as we could be. And maybe it's because they just don't know, but I don't know. But either way, there were things that I knew I wanted to address, especially after seeing how healthy my husband had become. And so I went on my own journey. And like I mentioned, my journey was not as challenging and is severely detox heavy, but I still had those moments. I still had the moments of, how am I supposed to do this? I'm the primary, caregiver for our daughter. I homeschool her. I run the back end of our business, and I just kept going. And I knew that there was light on the other side. I knew how much better our lives were going to be if I continued on. And so I am close to, I think, the 8-month mark on my protocol. I still have some of that inner emotional work to do on the protocol in order to truly finish up and be fully well-rounded in my healing. But I mean, after the first, I think 4 months, my menstrual cycle after 15 years was finally starting to level out, finally starting to be predictable. And that was something I basically was told. It was just, here, take an extra pill, do this, do that. But they didn't really ever address any of the things. There were a handful of other, hormonal imbalance issues that I had that, again, my OBGYN just looked at me and said, I don't know. I'm not kidding on that either. So that's where I was. And now I'm on the home stretch. I'm here. I'm on the same path as my husband. I know that I will have a very long, healthy life. I feel like I look younger than my brother and sister, who are younger than me. I hope this doesn't come back around to them, so I might have to cut that. But yeah, so